Hello, everyone. Today I have a very special guest. We're interviewing the star of Guideline at the moment right now. He just released a wonderful article, but we're going to get further into it. My name is Julian, and today we have here Matthew Crump. All right. How are you doing today, Matthew?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. So far, so good.
Good. Well, I guess we'll just jump right into it. Who are you and what do you do at Guideline Media?
Yeah, so I am the media and culture writer at Guideline Media for this cohort. And in terms of what I do, a lot of different things. Mostly writing, but I'm working on a mini series. I'm working on these articles that we're starting to put out. Just really exciting. And yeah, just looking at the series that I'm working on is trying to look at the relationship that different films have to one another. I feel like a lot of times film reviews are more about critiquing and so hyper focused on one film that I want to look at it from more of I guess you could say like sociological perspective, like take a step back and look at the culture surrounding a group of films. So the first article I put out is looking at Philly film. So all of the films that, not all, but like most, I think I've covered a lot in those pages, but looking at the films that are about Philly, filmed in Philly, or both.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, we'll dive deeper into your article later. First, we want to hear a little bit about you. You could tell me where you're from and just a little background information, things like that.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm from born and raised North Carolina, very rural town, small town, and went to school in Asheville as first-generation college student, so that just means like no one in my family had really ever been to college before except me and my sister. Okay. So I went to a small liberal arts school in a town called Asheville, mountain school. If you know Asheville, it's kind of like a hippie vibe, which maybe rubbed off on me. I don't really know. But yeah, so I went to school there. I focused on film and creative writing. I directed a couple things. Mostly I wrote things, but I wrote a feature-length screenplay that I was pretty proud of. And then for my senior thesis, I looked at Diablo Cody. She's a screenwriter that I really admire. Juno, Jennifer's Body, etc. So,
okay. Well, what was the screenplay that you got to write about? What was that about?
Oh, that was that was my first screenwriting class, and it turned into, we were only supposed to either write for our final, we were supposed to write an episode of something or the first act of something. Mm-hmm. And anyway, my professor liked mine. I chose to write the first act of a feature film, and she liked it enough to she asked me to finish it, and so I did. But yeah, so it is a small, kind of like analyzing my upbringing a little bit. It's like a small town trailer park story about these two women who fall in love in the trailer park and are trying to like pull themselves out of their situation, their circumstances. And one of them's pregnant, very high drama. It was fun. It was a fun first project to work in the screenwriting format. Of course, I've been writing my whole life, but that was the first time I've ever like written in that kind of style. So, and it really, I've been writing in that style ever since. I really prefer it in a lot of ways. So,
okay, that's what's up. So you say you're from North Carolina. So what brought you to Philadelphia?
Yeah, so a couple different things. I have family who live in Pennsylvania, not Philly, but in Pennsylvania. And I'm actually not super close to my family, but it was easier to convince the family that I do have, like, oh, I'll be okay. Like, there are people nearby. So That's not really the reason. More of the reason was I had a mentor in college who was really influential in getting me through college. He was great, really supportive, and he grew up in Philly. And so when I started looking at jobs closer to the end of school, I started looking at I knew I wanted to try a city because I have always lived in very rural areas, and I want to change a pace. I want to see what it's like, and but I also wasn't ready for like New York or Chicago or something just like big, like huge. That would be too big of a jump, I think. So I was like, okay, let's try out Philly because it's a little smaller, and it seems like a pretty good art scene there. So, yeah, my mentor really recommended it, and then I had a friend who was also going to school up here for grad school, so it just kind of made sense. We just took off together, and here we are.
Yeah, Philly has a great art scene. I might be a little biased, but Philly does have a great art scene.
Me too. Yeah.
How long have you been in Philly?
What are you saying?
How long have you been in Philly?
3 years in July.
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
3 years in July.
Awesome,
yeah.
Awesome. And
So I worked in school for about 2 years, and then this last year I've really been trying to get back into like creating things. So
okay. And do you plan on staying for like the long run, or you want to like jump around, or like Philly is like, are you trying to make Philly your home?
Yeah, I I think so. Okay. I really do. I feel really connected to Philly. But I have other things I want to do while I'm still young. Like I do want to go to grad school, and so I'm not necessarily. If I can go to grad school in Philly, that'd be great. But I'm not going to limit myself to that. I feel like I have another city in me. I guess I'll put it that way.
Okay.
I do see myself coming back here after grad school, post grad school. So, yeah, might go abroad. Maybe Atlanta. I really, really like Atlanta too.
Okay,
so
yeah, Atlanta's popping.
Yeah, who knows? See where the wind takes me.
Okay. All right. Another question: what made you want to become a writer? Like, what got you started in writing?
Ooh, those are kind of two different questions. What got me started in writing? In third grade, I wrote. I guess we were supposed to write a story about an animal, and then I misunderstood the assignment and wrote a story about a family of rabbits who like one gets kidnapped and they have to go like save her or something. I don't know. It was a whole thing.
Okay.
All I remember is my third grade teacher gave it back to me, and it was like 4 times as long as it was supposed to be, which is classic Matt Crump. Like I always overwrite. I've never once like made a page limit. Like I've always went over page limit is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, she gave it back to me and with a note that said like send me your first book. And I really think that was like the kind of like the pivotal moment in my life where when I was little and I was young and I was really impressionable and someone really believed in me and told me I could be a writer. So I just stuck with it and joined the newspaper in high school and I mean, you name it. I really did everything. I made a literary magazine for my senior project in high school and always loved reading. That helped, of course. So, yeah. And then what was the first question?
Oh, just what made you want to become a writer?
Yeah, I think it's just I'm a creative person. I try to be as creative as I can, I mean, obviously you get stuck in the capitalist machine and you lose some of it as you get older, but yeah, I feel like it's one of the more accessible ways to stay in touch. Like it doesn't cost a lot of money normally. And yeah, I just think it's accessible and it's a way to express myself, and to try to understand the world around me and, try to capture some kind of truth. I guess that sounds really like Heidi Flighty, I guess. But
you just try to find that story you wrote back in third grade and try to like redo it and.
I wish I don't have anything from back then, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I wish I can see it in my head. I like drew the picture of the rabbits. Like I can like see it.
That would be dope. All right.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to jump into some of your current writing or writing
Sure.
the first article you did for Guideline, which is the article Lady Day Take Two, which is about Billie Holiday and her career and her life, and you kind of you kind of did a comparison article comparing the movie done in 1972 versus the one that was done more recently with Lee Daniels featuring Andra Day. So my
Yeah.
question to you is, why was it important for you to write about Billie Holiday and this Lee Daniels movie?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's I can kind of go a long way back. I really love Diana Ross. I will
Okay.
say that. I think in college, like Diana Ross, just like I got obsessed with her. I don't know what it was, but she her music really speaks to me, and her personality, that like diva. She's kind of like one of the first divas of
I
Hollywood,
can
and
say that, yeah.
I love her work. Yeah, right. So I don't know. I'm just kind of obsessed with her, and I would say that's kind of the seed that planted my interest. And then I watched Lady Sings the Blues a couple years ago, and really was sort of disappointed. Unfortunately, like I love her performance, amazing. She probably deserved that Oscar. I mean, she was nominated and she didn't win, but she gave a great performance. But it just felt like there had to be something missing from that story. Like I felt like it really victimized Billie Holiday.
Mm,
Another thing about me is I love that era of music. I mean, I don't really listen to like modern day music. My friends make fun of me a lot because I'm literally like how Spotify does those like Spotify Wrapped.
hmm
I got adult standard as my like number one genre, which is like a little embarrassing. Which basically means like anything released before like 1960. So anyway.
No, I don't blame. I'm a fan of that. Like, well, maybe not 1960s or before 1960s, but I'm a fan of the classics too. So I don't blame you.
Mhm. I guess adult standards is like maybe I think it might be like 1970 and before. So just there's so much good music from then.
Definitely.
Anyway, so yeah, when I found out that Lee Daniels was making this film, I got really interested because Precious, even though Precious is like a really controversial movie,
Hmm.
it was one of the movies I watched when I was first getting into film in high school, and really felt like, oh, here's a story that I've never seen before, and here's like film can be a conduit for stories that are so unseen, unheard of. It was exciting. I think there was something like really charged and exciting about that film at the time. I do think it maybe didn't age the way it should have, but he's a controversial guy, so and he's not afraid to be controversial, which is also admirable in a certain way. So anyway, when I found out he was doing this story about Billie Holiday and trying to kind of fill in the gaps of the original Lady Sings the Blues film. Not that he wants to overwrite it. I really, after analyzing these films in relation to each other and separately, I really don't think. I mean, Lee Daniels loves the source material. He really has been very open about his love for Diana Ross, his love for Billy D. Williams, and their performance together in that film, and what it did culturally and in a time where you didn't really see black people on the screen in that capacity.
Hmm.
So, I think he really, really respects source material, but that doesn't mean that the source material got everything right. Billie Holiday's a really complex person, and I think he, with his new film, is trying to fill in a lot of those complexities that maybe were skirted over. Um, so yeah, it just really interested me. I knew the director, I knew the singer, and I like knew the original movie, so I was just like, I got to see this. And I kind of wanted to see, well, what could happen if we put those two films in conversation with each other.
Okay. Well, you did a great job of comparing the two, and for the viewers, y'all should go definitely check that out on lilfilmmakers.com. The
Yeah,
article titled Lady Day
please go
Take
click
Two.
that link. Yeah.
Um, a two-part question. Do you have a favorite song by Billie Holiday? And do you have a favorite movie done by Lee Daniels?
Oh, okay. I guess I kind of beat you too. I wouldn't say. I don't know if Precious is my favorite movie. Let me start with song. Billie Holiday favorite song. Um, I really like Ain't Nobody's Business, because I just think that really captures who she was in my mind. Um, like, and it's interesting because it's like how here are these two movies who are getting all up in her business and like putting it on the big screen. So I think it's just interesting that at the end of the day she really was like a kind of a private person.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I love that movie. I love that song, and I also really like "God Bless the Child." I think that that's a really moving song. But then favorite movie from Lee Daniels. Seen everything the man's ever done, so, um, and it's a mixed bag for sure. I know his favorite movie of his work is the oh my gosh, Paperboy, the Paperboy.
Mhm. This isn't about Lee Daniels. This is about you, man. What is your
I
favorite?
know, I know. Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. I'm just like I'm so. Sometimes it's hard for me to have an opinion because I just like watch. I watch so much stuff and then I'm like, well, now I feel neutral about everything. Like, I don't really like this movie. Um, yeah, the Paperboy was interesting.
Mhm.
It was like the Paperboy is I won't call it my favorite, but I do think it's like it surprised me the most coming from him. Because I, if I'm being honest, like I just have like an attachment to Precious because it came at it really kind of like opened my eyes up at an age.
Yeah, and that was a
It,
crazy
the
movie.
film industry.
Hmm.
Yeah, what do you say?
I said that was a crazy movie. It was a great movie.
But then revisiting it recently, I was like, man, this is. I don't feel comfortable saying that. Like that I love this movie anymore because it's so complex and nuanced. Like, um, yeah, some of the issues it brings up. It's like, are they doing this right? And I actually read the book recently that it's based off of,
Okay.
and a lot gets left out. And I think a big critique of don't let me ramble if this is too off topic. But I do think a big critique of Precious is that it gets called trauma porn a lot.
Mm.
Like it's
I never
really
heard
just
that
like
term.
showing this woman's life. It's just it doesn't give you a break. Like nothing. She doesn't get any kind of like peace in the movie until maybe the
Yeah.
last scene.
No, you're
Um,
you're right. But wait, before you get too far into Precious,
yeah,
you
sure,
got to
sure, yeah,
name a
yeah.
favorite movie about Lee
I don't know.
Daniels.
I guess it's Precious. I don't know
Precious.
because I gotta think.
All right,
Let me think.
we're gonna go with Precious.
We're gonna go with
We're gonna
Precious.
go with
But actually, honestly, I think the Billie Holiday movie is up there because it's not getting a lot of good reviews. But I am I think in the minority of people who really enjoyed it. So
Okay.
maybe I'll say that. We'll say
Okay.
the Billie Holiday.
All right, the movie.
Sorry, I'm all over the place right now.
It's all good. All right. So I want to talk about your latest article that just came out on Monday, which is titled "In Pursuit of the True Philadelphia Story," which you talked about a little bit again, and just like you covered all the different movies they either shot in Philadelphia or took place in Philadelphia. Um, and you covered a lot of movies. So if you can name your three favorite movies that you covered in that article.
Okay, so you thought I was gonna ramble before. Now you. No, okay, I'll try. I'll try. The three favorite movies. It's hard for me to pick favorite movies, but let me see. Uh,
Got you on the spot.
you got me on the spot. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with. mm, I'm gonna. This one is not one I talked about a lot, but I really liked the movie, and it's short. It's only about an hour. It's called Confessions of a Suburban Girl. Um, and it was actually filmed right outside of Philadelphia, but I think it was like it was. I thought it was like if it had a little bit more money, and a little bit more time, it could have been a really interesting documentary. So
Mhm.
I'll put that one out there. And directed by a really cool woman that movie, and
Who's that? Do you know who the director was?
I feel like her name's gonna leave me now. I have it right here. um, Susan Siedelman. That's it, Susan Siedelman. And she's done a lot of other films that I'm like, oh, I gotta see those because I'm really interested. But yeah, this movie is more of a personal piece, and like I said, this documentary is more about like her upbringing in this mostly Jewish suburb of Philadelphia. So I thought it was interesting. She interviews all of her childhood friends, and it's just kind of like a cool cool little window into her life, and what it's like to leave the suburbs as well. And because she, I think she moved to New York afterwards and chose a very different path, very different life than like what was laid out for her. So I thought that was a pretty cool movie. It's on YouTube for free apparently, so it's accessible as well. And then it's hard to pick them. I think, the standout film for me is Philadelphia.
Okay,
even though I do think that movie's representation of queer people is maybe not. It's clear when it came out. Like it came out in the 90s, and it's very palatable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think, but I did really enjoy that movie. At the end of the day, I think that movie opened up a lot of doors for people, and I just think, and I think it like finally brought the AIDS crisis to the big screen, which is something that like Reagan tried really hard to cover up for years. So, important.
Yeah,
that's definitely important.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. Like
that is a whole other rabbit hole for sure. But yeah, you asked, so I'm telling you. And then let's see. I feel like I liked so many, and I feel like I'm gonna leave one out inevitably. But let me think. Is it annoying if I scroll through my article really quick? I just feel like I'm forgetting one from the early.
Come on, just one more, Matt.
I think I'm gonna go Mikey and Nikki. I'm gonna go Mikey and Nikki. I think that was like a good movie. Also directed by a woman, which is at a time when there were like not pretty much no female directors. And it has a really cool backstory to it as well. Elaine May directed that one. So, but at the same time, like, I think it's important to note that like all three of the movies I just named are all about like white people. Philadelphia does have a black lawyer who is kind of like the co-lead, Denzel Washington, but I just think that's a lot of what my article is about, is trying to talk about like how the stories that we do have of Philadelphia are very skewed in certain directions, mostly like white men. So
I'm glad you brought that. That's very important that you brought that up.
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's a whole nother topic or a whole nother discussion. We gonna finish out this interview.
Yeah, please. Sorry. Yeah, we could go for a while.
So
read the article, and then you'll
read the article, and you can go definitely deep into what Matt is discussing with these different movies. Next question. So, what is the target audience you have in mind for the content you create? So, whenever you create something, who are you thinking about?
That's a good question. I think it really depends on what I'm writing. Sometimes I don't think about. Sometimes it's better not to think about your audience, especially if it's like a really personal piece. What I've been writing recently hasn't been very personal, so I have been thinking a lot more about the audience. And especially with my new article about Philadelphia, I really was just trying to think about Philadelphians, like the people who I've met, the people I've worked with, the people, my friends, my family, my found family. And I just want to make sure that they're being represented the way that they deserve to be represented. So yeah, I guess that's who I was thinking about mostly. And I worked in a school, so I'm thinking a lot about my students too, and like they're growing up and they're seeing. There's it's so interesting to think about like the media that our youth, and we are youth as well, definitely. But I think it's like interesting to think about the media that we're consuming, the ways we're consuming it, and the messages it's sending us. So I think a lot about those groups, I guess.
Okay, great answer. All right. So, if there was a biopic on your life, one, or just a movie in general on your life, one, what would the genre be? Who would play you? And who would the director be?
Oh my God, on the spot. You got to scream me with some of these questions because I don't know. Okay, what was the first part of it?
What would the genre of the movie be about your life?
The genre, dark comedy.
A dark comedy, okay.
Yeah, a dark comedy.
Who would play you?
I know you want me to say Draco Malfoy. I don't know. Who would play me? Let's be aspirational here.
No, this could be like your dream. You can say Denzel Washington. This is no, well, this would be like your dream actor. That's like, I love the way that they act, and I want them to perform in my life. So like, it don't have to be someone that looks like you or anything like that.
Oh, okay, like my favorite actor.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really have a favorite actor. I have a lot of favorite actresses.
Hey.
Yeah, honestly, I think I would like to see Timothée Chalamet with a platinum blonde too, playing me. I think that would be fun.
Okay.
I think that.
And
Please don't commit to this. I hope that. And then what was the last one?
And who would the director be?
Director. I've been really obsessed with oh my god, her name's gonna fly out of my head now that I'm thinking about it. Oh my god, can I have 1 second? I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with names. Like, this is why I write, so that I don't have to like remember things. I literally wrote an article about this woman. Nia DaCosta. Jeez Louise.
Okay. Does
not
she
on the
make
spot,
like,
yeah, Nia DaCosta.
what type of movies does she make?
She's newer. She's up and coming, and I just like really believe in her.
Okay.
I want to see her be but she's when I say she's up and coming, like she's already kind of made it. She's going to be coming out with the new Candyman remake, and she also is directing the second Captain Marvel. So that's a huge.
Yeah, those are huge. Yeah,
big budget. That's awesome. So she's
good for her.
She's doing it. And I would love to get her. I would love to meet her. I really like her work. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps it up pretty much. Well, before we wrap up, what is your next steps for Guideline Media? What is the next thing that you're working on or have coming out?
Well, we got a podcast that we're gonna start.
Whoa.
We're gonna be getting that moving. But for me, my personal project, just me, I want to look at the new movie Concrete Cowboy and in a deeper way. I'm not sure what film I want to put in a conversation with yet. It might turn into. I might bring in Lee Daniels because, like I said, I've been binging his films recently, and he did produce that movie, so something's cooking there. We'll see what comes of it. But
okay, awesome. All right, well, everyone, that was Matthew Crump, and go check out his 2 articles that are on the Lil Filmmakers website right now. Lady Day Take 2 and Pursuit of the True Story, the True Philadelphia Story. Sorry. Check those out, and yeah, have a good one. Peace out, y'all.
Thanks.